All right, so this is one of our Desmos activities where we're working on factoring, especially using an area model. There is a video embedded here on the first slide that you can watch if you're still stuck. Please make sure that you're trying all the problems here and watching the videos and asking for help if there's anything that you need. If there's a particular problem you want help with, just comment or ask and I will help you out. So what we've got here is we're trying to set up the area model like we practiced in class. And so top left corner is where we put x squared, right? And then the fourth corner is where we put 35, and then we multiply those two terms, 35 times x squared. Check that. All looks good. So then our goal, what we're going to do next is trying to fill in, boxes 2 and 3, what the other pieces are. So let's see what that looks like. Now we're going to identify factor pairs of 35x squared. So this is like the Desmos activities from earlier. Go back and try those out if you haven't done them yet. But the way to get 35x squared, it could be 1x times 35x, or it could be 5x times 7x, and those are the only ways to do it. And our goal is to add up to 12x. So it's not the top one because that adds up to 36, and so it is the bottom one that adds up to 12. A lot of times when I'm doing these, I don't say the letter X every time. I just think about the number 35 and the number 12. And so 5 and 7 work as numbers. But if you want to use the X's, you can do that too. This activity is set up to talk about the X's. All right, that's it for that first one. Okay, so we set up the area model, and what you're going to end up doing with this area model is finding the outside pieces. So these are the outside pieces that multiply to make the inside, because the terms on the bottom have a 7 in common, the terms on the right have a 5 in common, and the terms here have an x in common, the terms here have an x in common. And so what you're writing on the outside is what was common to that row or column. I'll do just a couple more examples here. You should really try all these problems out yourself. So problem number 2, 2x squared goes in the top, 12 goes in the bottom right, multiply and you get 24x squared. There we go. Now we want to find pairs of 24x squared that add to 11. And so if I think of 24, a couple ways I could get 24. I could do 1x times 24x. I could do 2x times 12x. I could do 3x times 8x. I could do 4x times 6x. And out of those, the only one that adds up to 11 is 3 and 8. This adds up to 25. This adds up to 14. This adds up to 10. So 3 and 8 is the winner. But it actually asks us to do it for not just any 11, but negative 11. And so that means I'm going to want to use negative 3 times negative 8. Two negatives still multiply to make a positive. And so if I have a negative 3x and a negative 8x, those are going to add to make negative 11, and they're still going to multiply to make positive 24. Now, if you look at what's common on the different rows and columns, these have a 2 and an x in common. These have a 3 in common. These have just an x in common because 2 and 3 don't go together. And these have a 4 in common. And now what we need to do is just think about positives and negatives. This needs to be a negative, and this needs to be a negative in order to get a negative 3, a negative 8, and still maintain a positive 12. All right, I'm just going to do one more and we'll call it good for this video then. So we start out 3x squared, negative 6. Multiply those to get negative 18x squared. It works. The ways to get negative 18x squared would be 18x and negative 1x, because that multiplies to make negative 18 and it adds to make positive 17. Finding the commonalities, this row has a 3x, this is just an x. This is times -1, so this must be times 6. And that's how you factor to get 3x minus 1 times x plus 6. So please watch the videos, ask for help, comment if there's anything that's confusing. Happy to do any of the later problems as well if you need. Thanks.